loft area to kind of support the four corners. And I would sleep up here, and as I was working here and then I'd sleep here at night, I would kind of visualize like where things should be. And anyway, the staircase kind of came to me. You know, originally there was going to be a ladder, which I think eventually would have been kind of hard to deal with, especially if you're moving stuff upstairs and downstairs. But we were able to get this staircase in. You know, it's kind of narrow, but I think it serves its purpose. You get a really good sense of the depth of these walls. You know, you can sit up here. It's really cool. But also, in straw bale buildings, they'll usually put what they call a truth window, just so people can really see, like, wow, there is really straw inside those walls. And like I said earlier, we kind of tried to make this kind of resemble a Yurok plank house, which is why that round window was there, even though the doorway was usually round. But you can kind of see, like, you know, the straw in the middle there. Yeah, so it shows like the true thickness of the wall and you know, the sculptability of it. You know, everything in here is pretty much round, except for a few things.
There's a fly swatter right there.
And here, symbolically, there is a little scale model of what a plank house in this particular region would have looked like. There is a little conventional building involved with this straw bale house. I actually did build a greenhouse here with cedar siding. I tried to use as many recycled materials as possible, so a lot of the materials are actually, you know, second use. There's a composting toilet in here. It's a kitchen area. Originally, it was just going to be a greenhouse for starts for the garden, but it just evolved into a kitchen area because they really needed one. Straw bale building, I think it's really important for people to step away from conventional building, you know, because, well, first of all, we're running out of resources. So there's, you know, the principle involved with this is that you want to tread lightly on the earth. The plaster came from locally here, only about 2 miles up the road. We got these straw bales from somewhere down in the valley. Unfortunately, nobody grows straw here. So we had to get that from out of the area. But other than that, you know, everything's as local as possible. People's main concerns with straw bale is moisture. You know, like people, especially in Humboldt County where this is, they get a lot of rain. So people's first questions are, well, how do they do in rain and snow and all that? Well, the oldest building that's still in use, that it's a straw bale building, is actually in Connecticut. And in Connecticut, they get tons of snow and rain, all kinds of weather out there. And there's this church out there that's actually still used today. It's over 100 years old. Basically, with straw bale, you want to have big eaves so that water is as far from the wall as possible. If it snows, you definitely want to get that snow away from the wall. So yeah, this church in Connecticut, it's, you know, people are taking care of it. Usually with straw bale walls, also earth plaster walls, you want to keep maintaining it. So anytime you see like a big crack, you know, you usually want to take care of that before the real weather comes in, the wet weather. But as far as like green movement stuff happening right now, you know, the reason I got involved in this was for people on my reservation. You know, this is the Hoopa reservation, but my dad's family are from South Dakota. And most people out there live in little trailers, and the walls are only 4 inches thick, you know, and they're basically like refrigerators in the winter, and they're just really hot and uncomfortable in the summer. So when I got into straw bale, I wanted to do what they call retrofitting, which is basically you put straw bale walls around an existing structure. So hopefully someday I'll be able to do that. I have yet to do a retrofitting job. Native Movement, which are a native organization out of Flagstaff, Arizona, they helped in this project. We've had many volunteers come help with the plastering of this building, which, you know, it's a lot of work, but if there's as many hands as possible, kind of makes it go by a lot quicker. And it was really good to have people's energy in this, you know. And, it really gave a sense of community. And like I said about this place where we are, this is Sweet River Farm in Hoopa, and it was intended to be kind of an example of what a community, a self-sufficient community can be. You know, there's solar panels out here, there's the river is just right down there, and the garden area is just an amazing place to be. Yeah, let's take a walk down to the garden. Hoping that Sweet River Farm here would be a good example of community. And yeah, I know like from Hopi prophecy stuff right now where we are, 7th generation prophecy, it all talks about the same thing, and it's our need to be interdependent, to come back together, back in a community mindset, you know, and get away from that independent propaganda, which, you know, it doesn't matter where you come from, you know, your culture, your race, whatever. If you look way back, we were all very tribal people. You know, we need, you know, just like the saying says, it takes a village to raise a child. And right now, where we are right now, Hopi prophecy speaks of this time, the rainbow tribes coming together. And it's really important to know where your food comes from. Really important to know where your water comes from, how you tread on this earth in a good way. And straw bale, you know, I feel personally, it's come to me in a way that I could show people what's possible. You know, like I've always liked building things, forts when I was a kid. So when I got into straw bale, it was like, wow, I'd love to do this. You know, for a big time of my life. I know it is hard work. You know, you definitely do need as many people helping you, you know, so you don't get burnt out. But yeah, knowing where your food comes from, knowing where the water comes from, you know, it's very important. And I think community mindset and interdependence mindset is definitely where we need to be going right now, because you know, our resources are very limited. You can't really depend on money so much, you know, because you can't eat money. You know, just like Chief Seattle said, you can't eat money. And there's things far more important than money, and I think being ready for whatever should come is where we need to be. And it's going to take everybody to come together and really kind of have a common way of being on this earth with each other. And I guess that's all I have to say for now. Hope you've enjoyed this little documentary on straw bale building / sustainable communities. I'll just leave it at that. Hope you enjoy the music. Thank you very much.